My name is Nora, 35 years old, and I've spent years building a life my family often overlooks. I sit in my sleek office, the city skyline framing my desk, clutching an invitation to my brother Liam's wedding, creased and marked with a handwritten note, kitchen seating. The words sting, a reminder of my family's subtle dismissals, but today, they've ignited a fire I've kept banked too long. They relegated me to the kitchen at his celebration, thinking me unworthy of the main table, but I have a trump card, my company's contract, a silent weapon I'll wield with precision. My anger simmers, yet a plan takes shape, and I'm ready to turn their slight into their undoing, though the path ahead remains unclear. Growing up, I was the quiet achiever in a family that prized charisma over grit. Liam, 2 years younger, was the golden child, athletic, charming, always the center of attention. Our parents, small-town shopkeepers, beamed at his soccer trophies and high school popularity, while my report cards and part-time jobs went unnoticed. I excelled in business studies, landing a marketing job after college, while Liam coasted through a liberal arts degree, relying on their support. I moved to the city, climbing the corporate ladder, founding Nexus Marketing 5 years ago, a boutique firm that now boasts million-dollar contracts. My parents nodded politely at my success, but their pride was reserved for Liam's engagement to Elise, a socialite with old money. The wedding invitation arrived 3 months ago, a gilded card that promised elegance. Liam and Elise's names danced across it, but the note inside, scribbled by Mom, changed everything. "Nora, we've seated you in the kitchen due to space. It's practical," she wrote, her tone dismissive. I stared, the words cutting deeper than intended. At family gatherings, I'd been sidelined before, serving food, clearing plates, while Liam basked in the spotlight. This felt different, a public snub at his wedding, attended by their elite circle. I called to protest, but Dad chuckled, "You are used to working behind the scenes, dear." Their casual cruelty fueled my resolve. I arrived in my hometown a day early, checking into a hotel to avoid family tension. The venue, a grand estate, loomed with its manicured gardens and chandelier-lit ballroom. I wore a tailored navy dress, a subtle flex of my success, and carried a briefcase with Nexus's latest contract, a $2 million deal with a tech giant, signed last week. My team had celebrated, but my family hadn't asked. I visited Mom and Dad, their house unchanged, filled with Liam's photos. "You'll love the kitchen setup," Mom said, oblivious. I smiled tightly, my mind racing with a plan to shift the narrative. The rehearsal dinner confirmed my fears. Relatives fawned over Elise's designer gown, Liam's charm, while I was ushered to a side table near the kitchen door, the clatter of dishes a constant hum. An aunt patted my hand. "You were so practical, Nora," her pity grating. I ate alone, plotting. My phone buzzed with work updates. Nexus's stock was up, a client praising my leadership. I screenshot them, adding to my arsenal. That night, I drafted a speech, weaving my achievements into a response to their slight, but held off, waiting for the right moment. Wedding day dawned with a crisp morning, the estate buzzing with florists and caterers. I arrived early, greeting staff I'd once trained with, their respect a contrast to family indifference. The seating chart confirmed it, my name scrawled near the kitchen, while Liam and Elise's table glittered with dignitaries. I approached the planner, a friend from college, and requested a microphone setup, hinting at a surprise toast. She agreed, intrigued. I rehearsed in my hotel room, the contract's terms memorized, my voice steadying with each run-through. Guests arrived, the ballroom filling with laughter and clinking glasses. I watched from the kitchen threshold, plates stacked beside me, the irony not lost. Liam and Elise glowed at the head table, Mom and Dad beaming, oblivious to my position. A cousin smirked, fitting for the workhorse, and I bit my tongue, my anger fueling my resolve. The meal began, servers weaving around me, and I waited, my briefcase at my feet. The contract, pages of legal triumph, felt heavy, a tool to reclaim my dignity. During the toasts, I signaled the planner. The microphone crackled to life, and the room quieted. "I'm Nora, Liam's sister," I began, my voice carrying. "I was seated in the kitchen today, a choice I won't dwell on." Gasps rippled, Mom's face tightening. "But I've built something worth sharing." I opened my briefcase, holding up the contract. Nexus Marketing, my company, just signed a $2 million deal. I lead a team that shapes brands, a life I forged alone. The room stilled, Liam's smile faltering, Elise whispering to him. I continued, this isn't about bitterness, it's about recognition. I've worked while others celebrated. I projected client testimonials on a screen the planner had set up, their praise lighting the room. I'm here, not in the kitchen, because I earned it. Applause broke out, hesitant at first, then strong. Dad stood, red-faced. Nora, this is unnecessary, but an uncle clapped, she's right. Mom's eyes darted, her hands twisting. I stepped down, the contract in hand, my point made. The next move would depend on their reaction, but I was ready to push further, my triumph just beginning. The aftermath of my impromptu toast at Liam's wedding left me breathless, the ballroom's stunned silence still echoing in my ears as I retreated to the kitchen's edge. I woke the next morning in my hotel room, the contract resting on the nightstand, its weight a mix of triumph and trepidation. The family's reaction, Mom's tight-lipped frown, Dad's flushed embarrassment, Liam's faltering smile, had set the stage, and I knew the ripples would spread. My plan had begun with that bold move, and I was ready to navigate the fallout, turning their slight into a lesson they couldn't ignore. The next steps were unclear, but my resolve was firm. The reception continued awkwardly after my speech. Guests approached, some with admiration, that was bold, Nora, others with pity, you didn't have to do that. I smiled through it, clutching the contract, its pages a shield. Elise, Liam's new wife, cornered me near the dessert table, her voice low. This was supposed to be our day, she hissed, her manicured nails tapping the table. You made it about you. I met her gaze, it was about respect, not rivalry. She stalked off, and I noticed Liam watching, his jaw tight. Mom joined him, whispering, her eyes avoiding mine. The air thickened with tension, but I held my ground, the contract a silent promise of more to come. That night, my phone buzzed relentlessly. Dad texted, we need to talk, Nora. This was too public. Mom called, her voice shaky. You humiliated us. Why? I explained calmly, you seated me in the kitchen, Mom. I showed my worth. She sighed, we didn't mean it that way, but the excuse rang hollow. Liam messaged, Elise is upset. Can we meet? I agreed, sensing an opportunity, and set a time for the next day. I reviewed the contract, its clauses a legal backbone, and drafted a proposal, recognition of my achievements, a family apology, ready to negotiate. The meeting with Liam was tense, held at a quiet diner. He arrived alone, his suit wrinkled, a sign of his rattled state. Elise thinks you're jealous, he started, but I cut in. I built a company, Liam. You built a wedding. I deserved better than the kitchen. He shifted, we ran out of space. I slid the contract across the table, its $2 million deal highlighted. This is my space. Recognize it, or I'll escalate. His eyes widened, escalate how? I hinted at a press release, my magazine contacts eager for a drama scoop. He paled, nodding. I'll talk to Mom and Dad. At Nexus, the fallout fueled my focus. My team noticed my intensity, and I channeled it into a campaign pitch, securing a $500,000 extension from the tech client. The success bolstered my confidence, and I recorded a podcast episode, Overcoming Family Shadows, masking my identity but weaving my story. Downloads spiked, comments praising my grit, you were an inspiration. I printed the episode transcript, planning to share it with family as proof of my reach. A colleague suggested a TEDx talk, and I submitted a proposal, the idea of a public platform thrilling me. The family response came swiftly. Dad called a meeting at their house, Mom and Liam present, Elise absent. The living room, once a place of my invisibility, now felt like a battlefield. Dad opened, we're sorry, Nora. The seating was a mistake. Mom added, we didn't see your success. I presented my terms, $10,000 for past flights, a written apology, and a public toast at a family event. Liam objected, that's blackmail, but Dad overruled him. She's earned it. They agreed to $5,000 and an apology, a compromise I accepted, recording their consent. Tensions escalated when Elise retaliated. She posted on social media, a vague rant about family drama, tagging me indirectly. The comments turned against her, fans of my podcast defending me, and I responded with a neutral statement, family is complex. Let's heal. The backlash grew, Elise deleting the post, her silence a victory. I saved screenshots, adding them to my evidence, and Rachel advised a defamation suit if it continued. I held off, preferring a quieter win. The next family event, a cousin's birthday, became my stage. I arrived with James, a friend posing as a date, his presence a subtle flex. During the toast, Dad read the apology, his voice halting. We regret overlooking Nora's achievements. The room clapped, Liam's scowl evident, Elisa's absence noted. I spoke briefly, thanking them, but hinted at more. This is a start. Guests whispered, impressed, and I distributed podcast transcripts, my influence spreading. Mom approached, tearful, we are proud now. I nodded, reserving judgment. My plan was taking root, a blend of financial leverage and public pressure. Their slight had backfired, and I was ready to push further. The contract had opened the door, and I anticipated their next move, apology or resistance, with a mix of hope and strategy. They wouldn't expect my persistence, and I was prepared to see it through. The days after the cousin's birthday toast brought a fragile peace, but the undercurrents of tension kept me on edge. I woke each morning in my city apartment, the contract and apology letter framed on my wall, a reminder of my victory and the battles ahead. The family's reluctant acknowledgement had shifted the dynamics, but I sensed resistance brewing, especially from Elise and Liam. My plan was gaining traction, and I was ready to escalate, turning their slight into a lesson they couldn't escape. The next phase was unfolding, and I braced myself for their response. The apology's aftermath stirred the pot. Dad's written statements circulated among relatives, some praising my courage, others whispering about family discord. Elise retaliated with a subtle dig, hosting a brunch and excluding me, her Instagram post captioned, "Family First." The comments turned, fans of my podcast defending me, and I responded with, "Inclusion heals." The backlash forced her to apologize publicly, a hollow tweet I screenshot from my records. Rachel reviewed it, suggesting a cease and desist if it persisted, but I held off, preferring a strategic strike. At Nexus, my success soared. The $500,000 campaign extension led to a $1 million follow-up deal, my team celebrating with champagne. I recorded a bonus podcast, Rising Above Rejection, its downloads hitting 50,000, comments lauding my journey. I shared the episode with family via email, attaching Nexus's latest press release. Liam replied, "Proud of you, but this is enough," his tone clipped. I sensed his unease, a sign my influence was rattling him. The TEDx talk was approved, scheduled for next month, and I prepared a speech on overcoming family neglect, its rehearsal fueling my resolve. The family meeting escalated tensions. Dad called, proposing a truce, $5,000 paid, apology honored, no further public moves. I countered with $10,000, citing emotional distress and legal fees and a family dinner to solidify it. Mom agreed, her voice weary, but Liam resisted. "You are extorting us," he snapped during the call. I stayed calm, I'm reclaiming my worth. They relented, scheduling the dinner, and I invited James and a few supportive cousins, turning it into a public stage. I prepared a slideshow, Nexus milestones, podcast stats, ready to reinforce my stance. Elisa's next move was bolder. She leaked an old photo of me at a messy college party, captioning it, "The Real Nora." The post gained traction, trolls mocking me, but my team countered with a professional bio video, my achievement silencing the noise. I filed a defamation claim, Rachel drafting it swiftly, and Elise backed down, removing the post. I saved the evidence, adding it to my arsenal, and noticed Liam's silence, his support for her waning. The dinner loomed, a chance to seal my triumph. The family dinner was held at a neutral restaurant, the table tense with unspoken words. Dad handed over the $10,000 check, Mom reading the revised apology, "We regret sidelining Nora's success." Liam mumbled agreement, Elise absent, her absence a concession. I projected the slideshow, the room quiet as Nexus's growth unfolded, $3 million in revenue, 20 employees. Cousins clapped, an aunt teared up, "We didn't know." I spoke briefly, "This is my seat, not the kitchen." The atmosphere shifted, their respect tentative but real. My plan was blooming, a mix of legal pressure and public validation. Their slight had ignited my rise, and I was ready to push further. The dinner marked a turning point, and I anticipated their next move, acceptance or retreat, with cautious optimism. They wouldn't expect my sustained strength, and I was prepared to see it through. The days after the family dinner brought a tentative calm, the $10,000 check and apology letter resting on my desk like trophies of a hard-won battle. I woke each morning to the hum of my city apartment, the framed contract a reminder of my journey from the kitchen to the forefront. The family's shift, Dad's reluctant pride, Mom's tearful acceptance, Liam's subdued silence, marked a turning point, and I was ready to shape the final chapter. Their slight had fueled my rise, and now I'd turn it into a lasting reconciliation, though the full resolution was still settling in my heart. The financial settlement lifted a weight. I invested the $10,000 into Nexus, funding a mentorship program for young entrepreneurs, a legacy of my struggle. James joined as a consultant, his architectural expertise enhancing our campaigns, and our startup buzzed with new energy. The TEDx talk approached, and I rehearsed tirelessly, my speech from kitchen to keynote, weaving my story into a call for recognition. The event drew a full house, their applause a validation that echoed beyond family. Online clips went viral, comments praising my resilience. You turned pain into power. Tessa's retreat deepened. Elisa's social media went quiet, her influence waning, and Liam called, his tone softer. Elise and I are rethinking things. Can we move forward? I agreed to a cautious truce, inviting them to the mentorship launch. They attended, Elisa's smile forced, Liam's nod genuine. Mom and Dad joined, bringing the quilt Mom had made, a gesture I accepted as amends. The event showcased our first mentees, their stories mirroring mine, and I felt a shift, family respect replacing neglect. The will reading, tied to a distant aunt's estate, added a twist. I inherited a modest sum and a family heirloom, a silver tray I polished as a child, while Liam got the bulk. I challenged the distribution, citing past favoritism, and the lawyer adjusted it, splitting it evenly. Liam apologized, I didn't see it then, and I nodded, letting go of old grudges. The tray sat on my shelf, a symbol of my reclaimed worth. Reflecting, my revenge was about redemption, not ruin. Their kitchen slight broke my spirit, but my strategy, contract, persistence, purpose, rebuilt it. The dinner marked my triumph, their pale faces a memory of my rise. If you faced family dismissal, this is for you. Share below. Subscribe to Revenge Tempest for more victory tales, and hit the bell for updates. Until next time.